For more now on the CHIPS Act and its political implications, let's bring in Libby Cantrill, PIMCO's head of public policy. Libby, what is the status of this legislation? There are so many different forms and names, it's hard to keep track.
There are lots of different forms and names, Sarah. That's right. And good afternoon. As the previous reporter just said, the CHIPS Act was passed in a broader bill called the United States Innovation and Competition Act last June on a bipartisan basis in the Senate. Another version passed the House earlier this year. Of course, Congress cannot do anything without complicating things. And now those two versions of the bills are being sort of reconciled in a very big conference committee, which, has taken, I think, a lot longer, even by their own admission, both chambers of Congress. So I think the bottom line, though, here for markets, Sarah, is that there is a lot of bipartisan support for this bill. It is basically the closest to industrial policy that the U.S. Congress has gotten in decades in terms of redirecting public monies to domestic industry, including semiconductors. It also authorizes $200 billion outside of semiconductors for scientific and technological research. So the bottom line here is this is very likely still to get done. It's just going through the very long and tedious machinations of the congressional process.
Do we have to wait till after the midterms?
We may, it could be passed in the lame duck session of Congress. I think Democrats, though, want to get this done before August recess, and I think that is the deadline that they will be working towards.
What about the gas tax, Libby? The fact that the White House seems to be the only one in favor, didn't even really get broad support from the Democrats. Does anything get done here, and what are the implications for the Biden administration? It seems really like a political move, the fact that he wants to do the gas tax holiday for 3 months, which basically takes us into the voting period.
Yeah, exactly. This is absolutely sort of the political tail wagging the policy dog, so to speak. And even the politics around this are not all that straightforward. President Biden and his administration are clearly desperate to do anything they can to be giving the voters perception that they are doing what they can do to bring down the price of gas. But you said it. I mean, this landed with a thud on Capitol Hill, predictably among Republicans, but then also, maybe not surprisingly, among Democrats. Speaker Pelosi months ago said that this is basically very showbiz, sort of writing off this as more of a gimmick than really substantive. And I think that's, where members will land on this. It is unlikely to get a vote in the House and in the Senate, and so will probably go nowhere. But I think it underscores just broadly the fact that the White House has limited tools here as it relates to the price of gas.
So I talked to investors, and it's bear market kind of mood out there. And one thing that they're a little hopeful about as a potential bullish catalyst is the midterm elections, especially if Republicans sweep. Where are you on that? I saw that President Biden's approval rating dropped again this week, 36%, according to Reuters Ipsos, matching the low that we have seen. On the other hand, we have not gotten the Roe v. Wade decision out from the Supreme Court, which could boost Democratic turnout. So where are you on the odds at this point, and what investors need to know?
Yeah, sure. So obviously the impact of Roe v. Wade is really kind of the open question. But if past is prologue here, Sarah, the party in power almost always loses seats in both the House and in the Senate. Since World War II, the average loss in House seats have been 25 seats for the party in power. In the Senate, it's been 4 seats. So just if it's adhering to historical trends, very likely Democrats will at least lose the House. The Senate is a bit of a different ball of wax, just given that it's much more sort of candidate specific and state specific. But I think from a markets and investors perspective, the impact is basically the same if Democrats only lose one chamber as if they lose 2, which means that Biden's legislative agenda is basically dead. So if we don't see a revival of Build Back Better anytime soon, we will not see that in 2023.
And that's a good thing for investors or not?
Well, I mean, I think that there's some investors from a tax policy perspective in particular who would welcome that. I think on the flip side, though, Sarah, and this is sort of a nuance I don't think people are necessarily thinking about, if Republicans do control at least one chamber of Congress, they may be more reluctant to provide fiscal support, especially if the economy is slowing down, because they're not going to want to give President Biden a win going into the 2024 cycle. So I think that is a nuance that markets may not be considering. But overall, I think they would be welcomed. They would welcome the fact that there'd be less progressive policy headline risk, and then much less chance of tax increases if that scenario plays out.
But the old bullish gridlock. Thank you, Libby. Libby
Exactly.
Cantrill from PIMCO. Appreciate it.